Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Welcome to the lecture in Islamic economics. We continue from last lecture. Last time we discussed principles of consumption in Islamic microeconomics. The first principle is moderation. Islam encourages consumers to practice moderation and to avoid extravagance and miserliness in consumption. So moderation is between the two extremes of extravagance and miserliness. Consumers should not be spending extravagantly, berlebih-lebihan. Consumers should not spend more than they need and should not be miserly. Jangan kedekut. And should not be miserly by not spending enough to meet their needs. Consumers should spend moderately, sederhana, and maintain the balance. Consumers should not spend more than what they can afford. Okay, so in Islam, consumers spend within the budget. If you have 1,000, you spend according to 1,000. If you have 5,000, you spend according to 5,000. So consumers should spend according to what they can afford. According to what they can afford. And should not be stingy. Jangan kedekut. So, in the Quran and the Sunnah, moderation is the principle of an Islamic consumption. However, the Quran and the Sunnah does not mention any level quantity of goods and services. Okay, how much you need to eat, how many cars, how many houses. The Quran and the Sunnah does not mention. Okay, because moderation differs from one individual to another individual. One person maybe eat one laksa, one plate of laksa. Another individual may eat two plates of laksa. One individual might need one car. Okay. Another individual might need two cars. So the need of an individual is not the same. So moderation differs from one individual to another individual depending on the norms. The norms means what is practiced in the society and also depends on the budget or the socio-economic status of the individual. If the individual has more income, then he can spend more. If the individual has less income, the individual spend less. So it depends on the income or the socio-economic status of the individual. Principle number 2, prior, prior, priori, prioritization. Prioritization of the utilization of wealth. So if consumers have wealth, consumers have money to spend, then what should be the priority? Number one priority should be on himself or herself. and also on the dependents. So that is the first priority. The wealth that is earned and bestowed upon an individual has to be utilized according to the will of Allah in order to achieve the rewards from Allah in the hereafter and to achieve falah, that is the success or the well-being, hasana fi dunya wa hasana fil akhirah, the well-being in this world and the well-being in the hereafter. So there are priorities for spending. The first priority is for consumer to spend for himself or herself and the dependents, for the wife, the spouse, and the children. So an individual should make effort to ensure that they take care of themselves and their dependents, their wives, their husband, their children, and to live a decent and comfortable life. The second priority in spending is to spend the extra money on the poor and needy relatives. Okay, so after spending the wealth or the income on on himself and herself, on himself or herself and the dependents, then the next priority of spending should be on poor relatives. Okay, you have okay, cousin, uh, nieces, um, and other relatives, brothers, sisters who are poor. Okay, so Islam encourages individuals to give charity or sadaqah to relatives, sisters, brothers, father-in-law, son-in-law, nieces. So those relatives who are in need, who are poor, because giving charity to them is considered as sadaqah and will be rewarded in the hereafter and could strengthen the family relationships. So when you give sadaqah to your relatives, so your relatives will like you and it could, bring you closer to the relative. The third priority is on charity and on savings. So besides relatives, individuals should also give charity to others, such as orphans, neighbors, the poor, and the needy. Savings is also recommended, especially for those who have families and other responsibilities. Savings will ensure that the individuals and their dependents are financially secure to meet the future needs. So we as Muslims, we need to save for the future and also for the emergency. However, it should be mentioned an individual must an individual Muslim who is eligible to pay zakat, who fulfilled who fulfill the conditions to pay zakat must pay zakat first. So if they have to pay zakat, they fulfill the conditions of paying zakat, then they must pay zakat first before they give sadaqah. Because zakat is obligatory, zakat is wajib, ijab or wajib. So zakat must be paid first, then if they have extra money, then they can make savings. Okay, and if there is still some extra income or extra wealth, then the individual is encouraged to contribute to waqaf to help the development of the Muslim community. The Prophet ﷺ said, إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث صدقة جارية أو علم ينتفع به أو ولد صالح يدعو له أو كما قال. The Prophet ﷺ said, when the son of Adam die, then um, all his deeds are cut, except sadaqah jariyah and the knowledge that is uh, useful, and then the children who make dua, the waladin salihin, good children, yad'ulah, the good son who make dua. So in this hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when the when the son of Adam dies, if he makes sadaqah jariyah or waqaf, then the reward will be continuous. He died, he or she died, but he or she will still receive the reward if he or she contributes to sadaqah jariyah. And according to the majority of Islamic jurists, sadaqah jariyah here refers to waqaf. So by contributing to waqaf, the waqaf institution will be able to make full use of the waqaf fund and can help the poor and the needy, can help for the development of certain projects, therefore contribute to the development of the Muslim community. All right. The third principle in Islamic consumption is permissible, halal, permissible and haram items for consumption. So in Islam, there are certain goods and services which are halal, and there are certain goods and services which are haram or prohibited. So the third guiding principle is related to the permissible, okay? Permissible or halal, and haram. Haram is, in English, is prohibited. So in Islam, in order to consume goods and services, the consumers have to look at, to examine and to check whether the goods and services are halal or haram. Okay? So in Islam, the goods and services that are consumed must be halal. So as a Muslim, we must check whether the goods and services that we buy is halal or haram. So the goods and services that are
Vậy đó em
consumed must be halal,
sampai mau tapi
permissible,
sisi
and tayyib. Must be halalan tayyiba. Halalan tayyiba. Okay. Tayyib. Tayyiba means good, clean, and pure. Goods and services must be halalan tayyiba. How do we check whether the goods is halal or not? In Malaysia, there is a halal. Allah. In Malaysia, we can check the halal certification by Jakim, right? So you want to spend on something before you purchase, you must check whether the goods and services is halal or not. Okay, there is a certification uh, by Jakim, right? So you must check whether the goods and services is halal or not. Goods or services must be beneficial consumption. Beneficial means that the goods or services bring useful and beneficial to the consumers. Means when the consumer purchase and consumes the goods and services, it will bring the benefits to the consumers and will not bring the harm to consumer. So check whether the product is harmful or not. For example, you eat Maggi, right? It says halal. However, it is harmful. Okay, so you, as a Muslim, as a good consumer, we must avoid goods and services which are harmful. Okay, artificial flavor, artificial coloring. Okay, artificial what they call yeah, artificial flavor like MSG, Maggi. So these are harmful. So Muslims should avoid consuming goods and services which are harmful. So the goods or services which are harmful and haram, the goods and services which are harmful are haram or impermissible. All goods and services that bring harm to human beings must not be consumed. The concept of goods in Islamic economics the concept of goods and services in Islamic economics is different from that from the concept the concepts of goods and services in Islamic economics is different from the concept in conventional economics. In conventional economics, goods or services that bring utility in conventional economics, goods or services bring utility or happiness to the consumers. In conventional economics, there is no concept of halal and haram. Okay? In conventional economics, there is no concept of halal and haram. So in conventional economics, as long as the goods or services bring happiness and utility to consumers, the consumers in conventional economics will consume the goods or the will consume the goods or services because there is no concept of halal and haram. So in conventional economics, for example, alcoholic beverages such as wine and beer are consumed, right? And are considered as permissible goods in conventional economics. However, in Islamic economics, wine and beer are not permissible because wine and beer bring harm to consumers. So in Malaysia, Muslim consumers as economic agents, we follow the guidelines from the Quran, the Sunnah, the Ijma, the Qiyas, as well as the National Fatwa Council in determining whether the goods or services are permissible or not for consumption. And we follow the certificate, the halal certificate. If there is halal certificate on the goods and services, then we can consume. Okay. So as a Muslim consumers, we have to check whether there is a halal certificate or not on the product. Okay. Any question? Wahida, what's your question?
Kata,
What's your question?
saya nak tanya sikit boleh?
Boleh, banyak boleh.
Yang pasal isu yang terbaru yang daging tu.
Okay. So apa soalannya?
So macam kan sekarang kita tak tahu yang daging tu, yang daging kangaroo ke apa yang diimport tu kan. Lepas tu jadi macam mana yang dengan sebelum-sebelum ni yang kita makan tu?
Oh, bagus soalan tu. Okay. So kita hanya berpandukan kepada sijil halal. Okay. So bukanlah tanggungjawab kita untuk cek sampai di mana dia dibungkus, daripada mana dia dapat, bukan tanggungjawab kita. Selagi ada chop halal, selagi itu kita boleh menggunakan. So untuk yang lepas, okay, katalah kita sudah menggunakan dan kita beli ya daging import yang ada chop halal. Jadi kita tidak berdosa. Kita tidak berdosa. Jadi tak perlu risau kalaupun kita pernah menggunakan, kita tidak dipertanggungjawabkan ke atas sesuatu yang kita tidak tahu. Cuma bukan semua produk daging, ayam dan sebagainya itu bukan semua yang kita beli itu diterbitkan oleh apa tu kita kata kartel tu kan, bukan semua. Contohnya kita beli daging beku Ilana, ya. Ilana tu adalah syarikat yang sah dan dia mengeluarkan daging beku yang halal. Cuma bukan semua produk Ilana tu ditiru, right? Yang masalahnya ada yang kartel tu dia pandai buat chop. Misalnya dia buat chop Ilana, right? So dia tiru. Tapi bukan Ilana yang mengeluarkan produk tu. Produk yang menjadi masalah ialah produk tiruan. Kan? So kita tak tahu yang mana yang asli dan yang mana yang tiruan. Okey, jadi kalau yang dah lepas tu misalnya dia dah pernah makan daging import, beku import, kamu tidak dipertanggungjawabkan dan tidak ada dosa. Cuma yang untuk the future kan, untuk yang akan datang ni, kalau seeloknya selepas kita tahu bahawa ada produk tiruan yang dikeluarkan oleh kartel, tiruan ni maksudnya dia tiru chop yang asli dan dia keluarkan dia bungkus daging-daging yang tidak halal. So untuk ke depan ni kita seeloknya lebih berhati-hati dan kalau kita ragu-ragu kita tak payah beli lagi lah. Okay. Soalan lain? Soalan lain? Ada soalan lagi?
Ada dah.
Siapa lagi nak tanya soalan ni? Nur Syafawati.
Ya, doktor.
Nak tanya soalan apa?
Kalau macam dulu kan ada isu juga yang berkaitan coklat Cadbury tu.
Ya, ya.
Lepas tu macam mana kita nak beli produk tu?
Oh.
Sekarang kan
Dia viral kan? Okey. So konsep yang kita pakai ialah kita berpandukan kepada chop halal. Kadang-kadang orang viral. Okey, Cadbury ni tak halal, itu tak halal, ini tak halal kan? So yang pentingnya kita menggunakan berdasarkan fakta. Okey. Kita rujuk kepada pihak pihak yang mengeluarkan sertifikat. Senangnya kalau ada cop halal, boleh guna. Sebab nak dapat sijil halal tu bukan senang. Okay? Cadbury nak dapat sijil halal bukan senang. So kadang-kadang orang viral kan. So kita tidak perlulah terus percaya kepada viral. Sebaiknya kita cek dengan pihak yang berautoriti. Kita boleh cek website JAKIM untuk melihat produk-produk sama ada halal ataupun tidak. So, mana-mana produk yang dicop sebagai halal, kita boleh guna tanpa was-was. Macam dulu ada kes viral kan, McD tidak halal kan. Jadi, dah disahkan bahawa oleh pihak yang berwajib bahawa McD itu halal. Walaupun dulu adalah viral, orang viral. So viral ni pun masalah juga. So kita beli barang tu berdasarkan fakta lah. Kalau sijil tu halal yang sah, sebagai pengguna kita boleh belilah. Okey, soalan lain? Nur Hazira, ada apa soalan? Nur Iza Farida. Awak banyak perempuan ni. Lelaki tak ada. Muhammad Syukri. Ada apa soalan? Okay. Okay, we continue. Prioritization in consumption according to Islam. Suppose we have money, we have income, okay, so we should give priority which products we want to spend on. So in spending to purchase goods and services, in spending to purchase goods and services, priority should be given to the fulfillment of daruriyat or necessities. So the first priority is for daruriyat. Daruriyat are goods and services that are necessary to the preservation of the foundation of individual and collective life. Based on Maqasid Sharia, there are 5 necessities. Religion, deen, soul, nafs, intellect, akal, posterity, nasl, wealth, mal. So there are 5 necessities. In the context of Islamic consumption, necessities or daruriyat represent the minimum level of goods and services that every individual must fulfill to sustain a living. So after the daruriyat or the necessities are fulfilled, then consumers can spend on goods and services that are considered as hajiyat. Hajiyat are the goods and services which are not vital to the preservation of the five necessities, but are needed for comfort. Okay, they are needed for comfort and to relieve difficulties in life. If we don't have hajiyat, we will not die. But if we have hajiyat, it will make our life more comfortable and it will be able to relieve difficulties in life. And then after the fulfillment of hajiyat, then the consumers may spend on tahsiniyat. Tahsiniyat consists of goods and services Tahsiniyat consists of goods and services that are of convenience, which can brighten complement or adorn life. So tahsiniyat are the goods and services that are called what do you call it? Mewah, barang mewah. These are goods and services that are of convenience, which can make life beautiful, which can uh, make life what they say, which can make the consumers happy. For example, having expensive car, right? So that is called tahsiniyat, barang mewah. Gelang, tangan, subang, handbag. So tahsiniyat, these are the goods and services that are of convenience, okay, which can brighten the life, which can complement the life, which can adorn the life. If we have the tahsiniyat, we will feel happy, we will feel proud, and other people, you know, may give compliments. Okay, dia pakai Alphard, wah, orang cakap, oh dia ni, oh hebat, macam tu. Itu tahsiniyat. Tahsiniyat ni ada pun tak apa, tak ada pun tak apa. Okay. Some people they work hard to earn a living and they spend on cars. Jadi cikgu lepas 3 tahun, oh beli kereta mahal. Itu tahsiniyat. To make the person happy, to make the person proud, and it could brighten, complement, or adorn life. Hidup dia jadi berbunga-bunga. Hidup dia jadi seronok. Okay, any question? Nur Shafika, what's your question? Liana, what is your question?
No, sir.
Why you have no question? You understand everything?
InsyaAllah.
All right. Any other question before we stop for today? So that is the class for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.